So interesting here. I want to ask how, when you look from in your perspective, right? You look through the lens of you as a hitting coach,
Mhm.
because you see things differently as a hitting coach on hitters that other people do not. What That's just the nature of the beast, by the way, and anything I think in life. But what do you see when a hitter has a bad, I don't, for lack of a better term, or inadequate bat and hand path? What sticks out to you right away first as a hitting coach that says that's not a good or ideal bat path and hand path? We need to fix that.
Sure. Okay, so and I'm gonna say, like, I will have an alarm go off in my head first, and then I will shut up for a while because and here's the reason why, because I don't wanna just look at the hitter and be like, "I found something that looks off." That's easy to do. Um, so a couple things. They might go into an early arm bar, right? So they're trying to create space around their body. So instead of having this direct pathway to the ball or into like their plane where they start to get that bat ready in plane, maybe they'll start to arm bar first and then that rotation starts to happen. Or maybe they have almost a Derek Jeter-esque look where they're going to, I mean, when he was like maybe really trying to get inside of a ball, where their front elbow is going to like hike really high up because they're fighting so hard to get around the turn of their body. Okay, so I say that with a grain of salt, right? So I might look at those things and be like, that doesn't look as smooth or direct as we potentially want it to. Now, I had this conversation with a couple hitters who are both Division I baseball players, and we talked about how slower pitching or worse pitching, if you will, like the
Yeah.
non-elite pitching, there's so much more you can get away with, right? You can do a couple of these inadequate bat path things and really get away with it. And then as pitching gets better, that's when it really eats you alive. Where if you're not on point and as efficient as you can. Conversely, if your vision is top notch, well, essentially you have just made better pitching not seem as good, right? Because your vision is so good for interpreting balls. So, yeah, if you are maybe like a Bryce Harper or you're like some of these elite of elites that have this unbelievable interpretation of an incoming ball, maybe you can get away with a couple of these inefficiencies. And maybe we shouldn't just be looking at Major League Baseball players and being like, everything about their swing is what we should blanket to everyone else. So anyway, I look at those things and then I look and see, okay, is this working for them? And why are they doing this? Are they doing this because they have some type of physical limitation, or are they doing this because their timing is off and they're trying to either slow themselves down to connect with the ball well, or they need to speed themselves up to connect with the ball because they're late. So that's, I guess, the how I'm starting to view it. But a really great hitter, what it's it's gonna seem like this effortless flow, almost like a little like a Ken Griffey Jr.-esque smoothness to it, where you're like, okay, that doesn't seem like we have any glitches there. That looks very direct to the ball, very short to it, type feel. And I know that was long-winded, but that is what my brain process is going through.
So if I can, I'll counter one thing when you say
Sure.
that some of the major league hitters do get away with some of their inadequacies. Pitching has never been better at the major league level. We
Mhm.
can argue that, right? I mean, probably be right most of the time with that. So major league hitters, while yes, at times they may run into a ball, right? Old baseball speak. Most times they have to be very tightened with their mechanics. And one of those things has to be bat path and hand path,
For
right?
sure.
So
They have figured out
that's
what works essentially best for them. All I'm saying is that it shouldn't be what every young hitter shouldn't necessarily look at, um, Trout and be like, "Oh, my back foot has to kick backwards." Like, that works really well for him but again, you look at his bat path, he's on plane, he stays on plane. They are figuring out their bodies, as far as what works best for them.
right.
And it's going to be different. That's all it is. It's going to be different for person to person because they figured that out.